This is Twit.
For all the complaints we make, this is a pretty remarkable country we live in, and the rule of law is so important.
It's absolutely true. I mean, there's lots of problems with the system, but we're empowered. It's a system designed for us to be able to change it.
Exactly. And that's why these discussions are so great.
Yep.
And nobody has yet come pounding on my door saying, you better shut up about the NSA. Now, if I were at Johns Hopkins University, they might, but that's a
Well, yes.
Isn't that shameful?
It really is. And now there's been an apology.
They backed down.
They backed down, but the fact that a university would not support free speech is appalling.
I missed this. What happened?
So there's a very well-known crypto expert. I'm going to get to his blog post. He's a professor at Johns Hopkins, and his name is Matthew Green. And he has a blog on Blogspot, but he also mirrors it to a site at JHU. And he wrote a scathing blog post about this whole NSA stuff, in which he said, for instance, I was totally unprepared for today's bombshell revelations describing the NSA's effort to defeat encryption. Not only does the worst possible hypothetical I discussed in previous years appear to be true, it's true on a scale I couldn't even imagine. He was worried when he was talking about it in the past that he'd be considered a crank. He says, I'm no longer the crank. I wasn't even close to cranky enough. The academic dean contacted him and said, take down all posts of that blog.
And the NSA logo, even.
The NSA logo was on it.
Yes, he made him take that down as well.
Now, the reason this is a big deal is because there is this tradition in universities of open expression, of freedom of speech.
Yeah. Not just universities, by the way, but yes.
But especially, particularly in universities, it's important.
Especially in those environments, yes.
So the question was, why was the administration asking for this? Turns out that Johns Hopkins has a, let me see if I can find the, there's a part of Johns Hopkins that does business with the NSA. And it's unclear at this point what the chain of requests were. The Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, whose motto is enhancing national security through science and technology, apparently went to the academic dean. Somebody, we don't know who at the APL, went to the academic dean and said, these are classified documents you're linking to. It wasn't by the, well, okay, well, this is an interesting point.
Well, right. Are they classified now that everyone's?
It was the Washington Post articles, public articles. But in fact, and we had this discussion on security now, they are still classified.
Right, and so government people are told not to read them.
Not to read them.
He was linking to them, but he's not a government person. He's a professor.
Right. So the dean of the engineering school, his boss, asked him to take down the post and to stop using the NSA logo.
And he made a point of saying it wasn't the dean's fault. So
he also said, I should get a lawyer if I didn't take it down.
Yeah.
Wow. They have since issued an apology?
Not exactly. They said he could put it back up. They're not saying what happened. Johns Hopkins told Ars Technica, we didn't receive any inquiry from the federal government about the blog or any request from the government to take down the mirror site. As to where the information came from, we are still tracing the path of this event. Like, well, I don't know. Somebody told me to tell him that. Unbelievable.
Wow.
And shameful. And they did back down. But anyway, Matthew Green is a very smart and good guy. And his articles, his blog posts are very good, and I recommend you read them. The full posts are on Blogger. Google didn't ask him to take it down.